God. All right. Hopefully that works. If the audio quality is shit, then
It's fine.
it's fine. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of From the Fourth Line. My name's Emma, and I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host Marcy.
Hello.
Oh, if this sounds different, it's because we're in the same room for the first time. Not ever. No, because we've been in the same room for a week. But we're in the same over a week. Oh, jeez. For the first,
it's been a while.
For the first time, we're recording this podcast though in the same room, which new for us. If you have been following us on Twitter, which you should,
Definitely should.
You know that Marcy and I have done a tour of Ireland, and now I'm sitting in Manchester in Marcy's university flat.
Woo!
But yeah, no, I took the trip across the pond. And
Have been adopted by my family.
Yeah. No, this is weird. Usually it's like there's too much eye contact.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm just gonna stare at my paper.
Too much, as if like we don't like do this, as if I don't see your face when we record these, but it's different. It's different,
we promise.
But yeah, so hopefully the audio quality is okay. We're doing this sitting on the floor and recording this with my phone because neither of us have a computer here.
Nope. Didn't think of that.
See, I wasn't going to bring my computer.
No. Mine's on my bedroom floor.
Mine's in my desk in Toronto. So
yeah, a bit far.
A little bit far, yeah. But yeah, so we have some Leaf things to talk about. Because it's been a solid month and a bit.
It's been a while.
Since we last did an episode. So there's been some things that have happened. Despite the fact that we wish that there wasn't. Because why not? But I guess we can start with the Leaf stuff off the top. Connor Dewar signed.
Yeah,
Big day.
Huge day for us.
Huge day for us. He signed a $1.18 million 1-year contract extension.
Yay.
He is an RFA, so the Leafs did very much hold his signing rights. So it was essentially, it comes down to just like how much money they could agree on. It does leave the Leafs with just 1.275, just over. There's like $333 or something there, but in cap room, without Jesus fuck, without Yanni Hankapää, who still is not official.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with him.
I'll talk to that. Maybe that'll be the room for Nick Robertson. Who knows? All I know is the signing Connor Dewar solidifies the fourth line. Nice. And provides some much needed stability there, I guess, because then you're basically running with a fourth line of Dewar, Camp, and Reeves, which is it's fine.
Yeah, we've had better, we've had worse.
I just think, I've said my feelings on the Ryan Reeves contract quite often. So I don't think we need to get into that again, but
not fond of it.
No, but I am really fond of Connor Dewar, so
yeah. Good
for him.
Yay.
Glad to see him back in Toronto. I think for sure this will definitely be an improvement over his last. He did play very well with Toronto, with the Leafs, but there wasn't the same goal scoring, specifically goals. He was still putting up assists, but there wasn't the same goal scoring as there was back in Minnesota. But no. I do think part of that's trade. You get unexpectedly, because we all know, famously, he came with one suit. So unexpectedly traded, you would have to turn your whole life upside. You have to move across to a new not a new country, because he's from Manitoba, but you have to move to a new place, and it's new. You have to learn a new system and all these things that people kind of forget to take into account when it comes to trades. And I think defensively his play, and defensively his play was great. And I think, you know what, offensively, that will come back. And then also as well, he was injured.
He was.
Because he did get that unexpected shoulder surgery at the end of the season. So, you know what? I think the goal scoring will come back for him.
It'll be back.
But yeah, so leaves Nick Robertson. Nick Robertson still has not signed. Apparently, he's requested a trade. I don't know why he's requesting a trade.
No, because we've talked about
We've talked about this in length.
Lot.
Yeah, because this is what happens when you put us in a room together. Shocker, we've talked hockey.
Whoa, no way.
Crazy.
But like, I get that he's not happy with how last year went for him.
Yeah.
But like, also, new coach. A lot of new players.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But it's like
team.
it's a different team. There's a new coach.
Just like,
Can Nick Robertson? No, he doesn't play on the left side, does he?
I don't think so.
No, but I'm trying to remember if McMahon ever played on the right. Because right now, because it's like the thing is, it's like new coaching, like Craig Berube may totally use him in a way that he like maybe will give him more playing time. Like I say, like stick it out with the new coach.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, like
You can't.
you
like,
might as well just.
You might as well, right? Like.
And then.
Because where are you gonna go where you're going to be on a competitive team and get the playing time that you want? You're not.
No, it's just not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. I don't know why. If it was me, I'd stick it out because it's a new coach. Different way of like the lines have all been switched around. Because like right now, like NHL.com says that Bobby McMahon is the Leafs' second line left winger because of the lack of depth that we have on the left side since losing Bertuzzi.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's in Chicago now. We talked about this on the podcast too.
I know, but also it's been a while.
It has been a while.
I forget things.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know. That's what I have on Nick Robertson. Like, I don't know, sign the contract. I think 1.275 is like a fine number if you're him, because I think he's was he less than $1 million? I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just I don't like the fact that it all came out. It was like, oh yeah, Nick Robertson's requested a trade, and then just dead silence.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
He's requested trade. We've gotten no further. Like, I get you're frustrated with because like Sheldon Keefe, and I think as well also like Nick Robertson's career trajectory has been all but traditional. You know, he at 18 was playing in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like he had gotten drafted. Marlies didn't have because it was COVID. Like, and then you play a season with the Marlies, and then you get thrusted into the bubble playoffs because of COVID, and you then get hurt, and then you go through this cycle of like injury and coming back from injury and being injured, and then finally you're healthy for most of a full season, and you just play 40 games. Less than, I think. I don't know. And it's just, it's like, I think for her, like, you know, I think we're seeing like the impacts that COVID has had on player development, and I could talk forever about how players are developing differently because of that, but it's whatever. The other not elephant in the room, but I guess as well, like the Yanni Hankapää. I just listened to the pronunciation guide for this name. I actually, you know what, maybe it's a good thing he didn't sign with the Leafs, so you guys wouldn't have to like sit through like a season of me stumbling through this.
Yeah.
But he's still not officially signed. At the captaincy press conference, Treliving was asked about it, and he wouldn't really address it. He just said, like, things are still getting worked out. The rumor that is going around, however, and I say rumor, like, pretty lightly, because it is coming from, like, Chris Johnson, who is more not really stating rumors, more just saying, like, facts, but they're getting phrased as rumors, but Chris Johnson says that it's the problem that lies with that signing is his knee. issue.
Me too.
Whereas the Leafs are raising concern over the health of his knee and whether he'll be able to play. And the Leafs don't want to essentially run into another Klingberg issue where they have just another Stars defenseman who can't, like, they got lucky with John Klingberg because they were able to just put him on LTIR for the rest of the season. And
every time I remember John Klingberg exists and like what he's doing, what he's not doing with the Leafs, I just kind of like sigh.
Yeah.
And think, what could we have been?
Yeah, no, so that's it. But apparently, you know, he thinks that his knee is fine, that like he can play on it and it's no big issue. Meanwhile, it's
obviously causing issues.
It's obviously causing issues, and the Leafs are just worried about that. And I think what it is and what the situation is at the end of the day is that they agree. The contract was all but signed, essentially, and it was just waiting on his physical. Because I don't think because Elliot Friedman tweeted out the signing. I don't think Elliot was wrong. I just think that then the physical came back and the Leafs backed away from the table.
Yeah.
And they said, no, we're not taking this risk. I wish, though, they would be, like, pretty concrete on saying, like, we're not signing him whatsoever. So then maybe if another team does want to sign him, if the knee is not that big of an issue for them, they have that opportunity to, and he has that opportunity to sign elsewhere.
Yeah, because like it's the weird silence on it that's just like, yeah.
Well, it's been over a month.
While.
It's been over a month, and so, you know, you have to think, okay, well, the options then, if you want to play this season, are very limited. We've seen that with Alex Nylander, and we'll talk about that. But, you know, and I think also as well, like, what I saw about the state of his knee is that it's bone on bone. Which, like, could be more painful than anything else.
Yeah, and when you said that, I felt...
Oh my... No,
my
because
knees
this was...
immediately just...
This was getting talked about a little... Like, this was... Obviously, when that quote came out from Treliving, this was getting thrown around, like, the offside work chat and stuff. And someone was like, yeah, it's bone on bone. And it's like, that's what I read. And my knees just... I was like... You know when you get that feeling when you just, like, your knees feel, like, warm?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, someone's talking about, like, an ACL tear or something. That's exactly what I was experiencing, and I was like, this sucks. Worst experience ever. But yeah, so thinking I guess obviously, well, we're kind of dodging some elephants in the room, but we're going kind of chronologically. Marlies sign Alex Nylander to a 1-year deal.
Yay!
It's a 1-year AHL deal, but that could always, like, you know, at some point through the season, that could always you could always sign an NHL deal with the Leafs to be able to play with the Leafs. But yeah, Marley signed Alex Nylander. He was selected 8th overall in 2016. Yes. By the Buffalo Sabres, and then has hopped around a bit. Got traded to Pittsburgh or signed with Pittsburgh? I think he got traded to Pittsburgh. And then got traded to Columbus again, went on an absolute heater on Columbus in the second half of the season, where he was like, his points per game was like up there with like Sidney Crosby, like Leon Draisaitl. Like, it was some crazy points he was putting up. He scored like 2 hat tricks in like 6 games or something stupid. I think he was like faring better in a points per game in that stretch than he was doing. Like, his points per game was higher in that stretch since he got traded to Columbus than William Nylander's.
Which is just deeply entertaining.
Oh, so deeply entertaining. But yeah, no. So I think, you know what, I'll say is, like, I think it's a good, like, reset button for him. He can kind of, you know, have an opportunity to re-find his game a little bit, because when he's on it, and he's a fantastic player. But, you know, you just want to have that consistency in being on it. And, yeah, no, I think, you know, I really hope he does well, and I think also as well, like, the Marlies are going to be a good fit for him. He can have a little bit more of that leadership role in that locker room that is now very, very young, if you take out Kyle Clifford. it will probably be pretty young. I think also as well, like, depending on how Leafs camp goes, you could have Fraser Minton in there as well, because he can't go back to Saskatoon unless they want to dedicate an overagers slot for him, which I don't know if they will. But yeah, so I think, you know, that and that team will get that, you know, and you provide an opportunity for him to, you know, do really well. And there's a couple guys on the Marlies who I would love to see, like, on a line with him. Yeah. Abruzzese is one of the first names that comes up where I'm like, you know what, those two on a line together would be fun to watch. So I think it's good for him, and it also provides me for music. This is a message to Craig Berube. I have one wish. Give me a Nylander line during camp. Please. Like, I don't care, whatever, it's like 30 seconds, but like, give me
just a crumb.
Give me them playing on the same line, because I think it would be fun to watch. Like, just through camp or whatever, like one of those... I mean, you play enough games where you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
You might as well.
Might as well. Like,
Give
I think...
the people what they want.
The people do want it. Like, I think that was, like, one of the first things I saw so many people say when that signing got announced, was, like, just put them on,
Nylander line.
Give me the Nylander line. Oh. Even if it's in, like, preseason, like...
Just give.
Yeah.
Give.
Yeah.
We need.
Because it's something that's totally doable. I mean, like, I look back... every so often like to look at the lines that I saw when they came to Ottawa for their first preseason game last year. It was like Kyle Clifford, Sam Lafferty, and
oh my God,
some other Marley, I don't know. And I was like looking at this, I was like, oh geez. No. So like I think the Nylander line isn't like the worst thing in the world. I don't know who you would have to center them though.
I dropped my pen.
I don't know. Trying to think of like, I don't know, John. Have John Tavares center the Nylander line.
Please.
I don't know who else you would have, like, realistically. In that bottom
Me.
6. Jesus.
I'm very excited to watch the Marlies.
No, yeah, I think they're gonna be a fun team because they're just gonna be really young. They made a lot of signings at the end of the season where they were bringing in a lot of Leafs prospects.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
At the end of the season, who were going to now stick around because they've either graduated college or aged out of the CHL, and so I think it'll be good. It'll be exciting. I guess we'll talk about the elephant in the room now. Or should I say the C? Captain in the room. Auston Matthews was named captain, making him the 26th captain in a Leafs franchise history. Also the first American-born captain for the Leafs. John Tavares will get the A. He will retain an A as well for the season. But yeah, so there was... I laugh about this because this was the funniest tidbit. Thank you to Kyle Kushman for this, for actually saying where the press conference was being held. It was being held at Real Sports, the sports bar. I found that so deeply entertaining.
Oh, funny.
And this is probably due to like Scotiabank Arena, due to Scotiabank Arena renovations, and also as well maybe just like the press room in the under bowels of Scotiabank Arena is not big enough to hold everyone that they thought was going to attend in terms of members of the media, as also as well as family and friends. But yeah, so it was a very, I think it was done very well. They really I do want to emphasize though, this is not stripping John Tavares of the captaincy. This is a mutual like handing over of the baton that I think a lot of people are saying came 5 years too late. Right? Yeah. But yeah, so
it's happened now.
Everyone's like,
got what they
Auston
wanted.
Matthews is the captain, and I think, you know, I think myself included was like saying like, okay, your captain doesn't always necessarily have to be your best player. I don't know, Andy Green at one point was the captain of the New Jersey Devils. But I think as well as fans, we can't really like have a definitive definitive opinion on like who should be captain.
Yeah. Because we're not in
that locker room, and we're not in the we don't have the same access to the team and to the players as the people who make that decision do. Like, that's a decision that, you know, comes down to, like, Brad Treliving and Brendan Shanahan and Craig Berube and things like that, where it's like, we only see off ice and a small percentage of what happens off the ice in the locker room with these guys. And so, as much as I would have loved to see Captain Morgan Riley, you know, we don't know, and we can't say anything for sure about what we should have and shouldn't have gotten. But, yeah, so it was all done very well. John Tavares had a speech, and he was very much saying, like, you know, this isn't meant to, like, it was like, this is not a disgraceful thing that's happening, this is more of a, the time was right. The time is right. You know, Auston Matthews is in his prime, blah, blah, blah. He's grown into a leader, blah, 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 blah. And it was very well. It was a very John Tavares speech, though. So. Like, go back. If you didn't watch the press conference or you haven't seen clips of his speech or whatever, go and watch his speech. It is so deeply John Tavares that it's ridiculous. But yeah, no, also, like, I
think the funniest part about all of this is the fact that we found out this was happening.
Oh my god, yeah, actually, no, we should actually...
Sharing bunk beds in a hostel in Dublin.
We should actually explain to, like, this news came out via Darren Dreger at around 7 p.m. Eastern time, because I guess that's when they sent out the email to the press, about 2 days before. And we were in Dublin at the time, because both of us have never been to Ireland before this, and so we'll do a little trip. We'll have a little trip. We'll do some fun. I was gonna come over anyways, and thought I would have had to fly into Dublin for the cheaper flights out of Toronto, so we thought, why not spend some time?
Make a holiday out of it.
Do some little bit of tourism. It was really fun. Really highly recommend Belfast and Dublin. We had a blast.
Incredible.
Belfast, yeah, we had
the food in Belfast.
Oh my god, the food was so good.
Unreal. I mean, the food in Dublin was also unreal.
Yeah. We drank so much Guinness.
I think I drank like 3 times my body weight in Guinness.
Because we would go in everywhere, and it got to a point where it was like our last night, and I was like tapping out. I was like, no more dark beers.
It's like, I just can't do it. I mean, I had a nice little Beamish.
Yeah, it was still a stout.
Yeah, it was still a stout, just not.
And I was like, I was tapping out. I was like, no more. Give me a good old fashioned Pilsner, please. It was really funny to see, like, when you get handed like a beer menu or whatever, and to see like the Bud Light and like the Coors and the Molson and stuff like classified as import beers. Because usually it was like standard, like a pint of Guinness was like cheaper than like getting like a Bud Light or something.
Yeah.
And I was
that's why I drink Guinness.
Well, I was like, well, meanwhile I don't drink it back home because it's usually like it's awful. Some of the more also it's usually like the more expensive beer when you go. Like usually I buy the really cheap local Pilsner.
No, it's like I've had so much Guinness recently that I had a dream last night.
You had a Guinness-induced dream?
Yeah. And do you know what the dream was about? How we finally found a really cheap pint of Guinness, and it was like £4.
Wait, isn't that what it costs at Spoons?
Yeah.
Or is it like $3.95 or something?
Yeah, but that's Spoons is a realm of its own.
Spoons isn't all. We'll talk about. Okay, at the end of the podcast, we'll do a whole thing where we talk about our trip and things like that. But yeah, we were like in bunk beds in Dublin. And it was like midnight, and this was like the night where we're like, okay, we're gonna go to bed early. Like, we just did the pub crawl the night before.
We are tired.
We did so much walking. We did we did a walking tour, and then we also walked all the way out to the Guinness Storehouse and did that tour. It was a long day. And we were like, okay, because we leave. Was it like we leave the next day?
Yeah, we had flight home.
Yeah, we had our flight home the next day, so we were like, we're gonna sleep, we're gonna go to bed early, then we're gonna get up the next morning and like go get our anyways, we had the whole plan set up, and it's midnight. And
my phone was like switched off, ready to go to bed.
Well, because here's my thing. It's midnight, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call it in, and then I get a notification from the offside just work chat, which I have all my notifications on. I'm a good employee. I'm a good member of staff there. And someone had sent in a Darren Dreger tweet. I was like, interesting, into like the news channel or whatever. So I was like, oh, interesting. I'll see what that is. See what Darren Dreger. Because usually when Darren Dreger tweets something, it's pretty major.
Yeah.
Especially if then it's someone saying, hey, this is worthy to be news, and not just, I don't know, Darren Dreger tweeting about something. And I open it and I'm like, what the fuck?
You just so then.
And because it says, it's like, oh, Auston Matthews will be named captain. There will be a press conference, blah, 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 in the next couple days. And I was like, no freaking way. So then I copy and I send it, and I'm like, please don't be asleep. Please don't be asleep.
So when my phone has a setup for when I'm asleep, where it'll be on, I have like my own little do not disturb, that's, I will get no notifications apart from when I get a message, like a text from Emma or my mum.
See.
So there I am. I've just put my phone down. And I'm like, right, it's midnight. I'm just gonna go to bed. Nice early night.
And then I send it, and I send
and
the tweet, and I go,
buzzes.
And I go, Marcy, please be awake. So I sent like 5 texts.
So then, like, if
at
my phone,
midnight.
if my phone buzzed once, I'd ignore it. 5, someone was dying. so I picked my phone up, and I'm like, right, what's happening? And then I just see you, like, losing your mind, and I'm like, oh my god, who's died? So then I check my phone. I remember, there were 4 other people asleep in this room.
Yeah, we're in a like a 6-person dorm room in a hostel in Dublin.
So we were just sat there in our bunk beds, like, trying to lose our minds as quietly as possible. And there were just, like, the occasional little just, like giggle. And,
or, like
go, and then, but the thing is, if everyone else was asleep, it'd have been fine. But there was one girl who was still awake because she was eating, like, some sweets or something, and the packet was rustling. And I'm just like, this is not real.
No, because it was, like, a thing where it was, like, we're, like, in Dublin, where it's, like, the only person we're in Dublin. Because this was after the pub crawl, so we had interacted with, like, other, like, hockey fans and things like that. I managed to befriend all the Canadians on our pub crawl.
Every Canadian within 50 miles of Dublin, you befriended.
But yeah, no, and I'm like, what? Like, it just felt really surreal of a moment of, like, oh my god, it's happening now.
Yeah. Just like, what?
But, because we couldn't even, like, look at each other, because we're, like, I'm sleeping above you, I'm in the top bunk, you're in the bottom of this bunk bed, and I couldn't even, and there was, like, curtains as well, so I couldn't even, like...
Even the really, really off-putting, unsettling thing where you just dangle your head down where the ladder is, because there's a gap in the curtain.
Yeah.
And just go, sir, how about that news?
Well, we couldn't even say anything either.
No.
Because everyone else was, like, sleeping, or, like, trying to, or being quiet-ish. But yeah, so that happened. That happened, and then it became a joke of the offside work chat where people were like, "Oh yeah, the bunk beds."
Oh, the bunk beds.
Well, because I think it was funnier though because it was like it was Mark Masters and David Alter were both at like the Canadian Open for like the tennis Canadian Open. I think Mark Masters, he was, like, covering the event, and then David was just there as a fan. And I want to, like, because I don't know, like, I find that so funny where it's, like, they probably both get that email. At the same time. And I don't know if they both knew that they were there, or if beat reporters have, like...
a group
chat.
To be in that group
chat. To be in the Leafs beat reporter group chat where I feel like there's some, like, secret beef between them. Well, remember the locker cleanout interviews where there was, like, arguing with each other?
Yeah, they were just, like, they just stood there, like, yeah, we've lost. And then just like, will you get out of the fucking way? Will you move? And then everyone's just, like, having a little digs at each other. It's brilliant.
But yeah, no, because I can just imagine them, like, or maybe they both knew that they were there or whatever, and they're, like, trying to, like, wave each other, David Alter's like... trying to, like, wave each other down, like, wave Mark Masters down from the press box, and it's like, dude.
No, I've been thinking about if the Leafs beat reporters had the group chat, it'd have the same vibes as like a group chat of like high school mums trying to organize like some sort of like group outing where it's just really like passive aggressive at times.
No, I think it would be like the same energy as, this is about to go over your head, but I think it would have the same, this is for a very specific demographic of people. It's about what we've been told about the same vibe as like what like the Formula 1 drivers like group chat is, where it's only used to organize like their driver association meetings, and sometimes the occasional meme gets sent through. That's like what I think the vibe is, but I don't know. It's just like very stilted and very professional, but like sometimes at some point someone will send a meme.
Just like, oh.
I don't know. Or like David Alter is like trying to get them to like, hey guys, check out my TikTok.
Hey guys, follow my TikTok.
But yeah, so Auston Matthews then, you know, said some things about being like named captain. And John Tavares' kids were there in little Auston Matthews jerseys. That was really cute.
So cute.
Everyone's parents were there. John's and Austin's. That was also very cute. And then also as well, Mitch and Morgan were there. Front row. But yeah, no, I think like, I don't know. Like, I think it was well done. It was, 20 minutes? We watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Together.
Sat in my childhood bedroom.
Yeah, to add to the absurdity of it all. We watched the press conference in your childhood bedroom. And then your mom called us down for dinner. Because we were going to go get Toby Carvery. It was delicious.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Now you understand why I never shut up about it.
No, because it was so good. I want to go back.
Well, if you stayed...
I don't know what he would eat anywhere else. But yeah, no, and I don't know. I have some thoughts. I think it was done really well. I think they were also really adamant on the fact that it was not like John Tavares wasn't being stripped of the captaincy, which I think is really important to not have that narrative exist, because even if that's what people were trying to say, it's not true, because it's John Tavares. Also, you wouldn't do that as an organization. You wouldn't be that disrespectful to John Tavares.
No.
And then also as well, and then, well, yeah, because they said it was a conversation that started with John Tavares and Brad Treliving, in which they approached each other, or it was like after the loss to Boston. Oh. And you know what? It comes to a point where it's like, do I think John Tavares was like the wrong choice for captain? No. Do I think that perhaps maybe because it's something that like this whole decision and this whole thing of having Auston Matthews be the captain goes all the way back to, what was it, 2019? Right? Or was it 2018? It was whenever John was first named captain. It was like people were expecting then. It was like really heavily rumored at the time that Auston Matthews was going to be named captain that summer. And then he wasn't, and they named John captain instead. And people were like, you know what? Not the choice I would have done, but like makes sense. John Tavares was still in his prime as a player. He hometown guy, was a captain in Long Island with the Islanders, and he's obviously a leader. And then at the start, like during training camp, this story about I don't want to say story. I don't want to say this like, because I don't even want to say story, or I don't want to say incident, but the news of Auston Matthews, I'm trying to say this without it sounding really wrong, but also I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, because you can do your, like, exposing himself to a security guard in a parking lot, came out and broke during broke during camp, and that was a huge thing, and that was a huge story at the time, and it still continues to be a pretty big deal. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's on his Wikipedia page. It's not like no one's trying to cover it up or bury it or hide it. It just also becomes a point where you don't have to mention it every time you talk about Auston Matthews.
Yeah. Like, if someone brings it up every single time Auston Matthews is mentioned, it's like, what? Like, I don't want to, this is make me sound like really bad, but like, what are we supposed to do about it? Like, there's nothing we can do
like,
about
literally,
it.
Genuinely, as a fan, there's nothing we can do.
It's like, we can't just call him up and be like, yo, why did you do that 5 years ago?
Yeah. And, like, also
like
as well, the thing is, like, it is there on his Wikipedia page. Like, I went to go check because it then, like, obviously when he was announced as captain, and then it started the whole announcement of, like, people bringing it up again and being like, oh, your captain did this, blah, 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 blah. And I then was like, okay, but, and then there's the wave of newer fans who were like, oh, I had no idea he did that. That's awful. And I was like, no, but, like, it gets brought up every 6 months.
Yeah, it's like,
at least twice a season it gets brought up, because it's like fan bases of other teams will use it as a gotcha moment. I'm like, there's players in the NHL who have done way worse than this. Way worse. And then people will be, I had no idea he did this. And I'm like, guys, it's on his Wikipedia page. Literally, if you look at his Wikipedia page, which usually is like the first thing people go to when they Google anybody, they look at their Wikipedia page. It's right there under, like, personal life, or like it's like right in with his personal life stuff, which other than that there's not a lot of, because he's not a very, like, outwardly public person. But yeah, so it's a little bit of research. Like, it's a simple Google search. I understand if you're a newer fan, like, you still have to learn things, but it's like, you know, he is the biggest name in the sport, or one of the biggest names in the sport, and if you don't, like, Google him when you first get into hockey, you know.
Yeah.
I think I come from a perspective, it's like, I remember, like, the Phil Kessel trade. I've been a fan for that long, but also as well, because I think it was, like, a couple weeks prior, there was someone who genuinely was like, hey guys, why don't we talk about Jonathan Toews very much? Not knowing his implication in what happened to Kyle Beach and everything that happened in that Chicago locker room in 2010, because it's not on his Wikipedia page. Like, if you just Google Jonathan Toews, it will not tell you anything about that. It will not mention it at all. So there's, like, a difference, and I think a lot of people were going after that person, like, for no reason, because they were asking a genuine question that they did not know the answer to, because it was hard unless you were there, like, on Twitter at the time. Yeah.
Like, unless you specifically, like, go looking for it.
If you go looking for it, but not even in a way of, like, you go looking for information on Jonathan Toews, you go looking for information on, like, the Chicago Blackhawks in 2010 and Kyle Beach and all that, which you, like, why would you? If you're a newer fan, like, why would you want to, especially also as well, like, some people may not feel comfortable with themselves and looking that up and reading on that. Like, it's because it's a very sensitive topic. But I don't know where I was going with that, but, like, Auston Matthews, you know what? I can't say anything on whether he'll be a good captain or not, because I'm not in that locker room. I don't know. Do I think he will be housing rookies in his basement? Probably not. I think that's a duty that John Tavares can hold on to, which is, like, totally fine. It doesn't have to be the captain. It can be any veteran player.
And I just find it so funny watching a teenager, like, a very young player who is, like, quite not chronically online, but Matthew Nyes, living with John Tavares.
Well, I think as well, like, it's like Easton Cowan who, like, put a child in John Tavares' basement. But also as well, drive the traffic out from Port Credit to either Etobicoke or downtown, I think is character building for players.
I'm going to agree with you, because I've never been.
It's you know what, having to do that interchange from the 427 to the Gardner Expressway, Actually, no, it would be 421, 427 Gardner Expressway. That is character building, having to do that.
It changes you as a person.
It does. It stresses me out every time I have to do it.
Oh.
I avoid doing it because I don't like doing it because it stresses me out.
Oh, no.
But yeah, no, I think it's fine. It's, you know what? It's the right decision. Will I think this will be enough to put the team over the edge? Who knows?
Yeah, we will see.
I don't know. I don't know how much having a new captain will absolutely, like, totally change the entire team top to bottom. I think people are saying, oh, this team is the same as it's been for the past 7 years. I don't think that's true. No. That's furthest thing from the truth. You know, sure, you're maintaining a lot of, like, core guys, but, like, your goaltending's all different. Your defense, for the most part, is all brand new in the past 2 years, except for Morgan Rielly now.
Justice for Mo.
But, like, no, because it's what, like, Timothy Liljegren.
Everyone's new.
And Morgan Rielly, and those are the only two guys that have been there prior to prior to 2 seasons ago. When Jake McCabe came in.
Good old Jake McCabe.
Good old Jake McCabe. I think, right? Am I correct?
I think so.
Who else is, because I'm trying to think. No, because it was Mark Giordano, and he's 40. And apparently not retired.
It's like, you know when you get, like, a really, really old dog and you reach the point where you're like, is it time?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think because that, right? Like, yeah. So it's like the defense all new. And for the forward group, for the most part as well, like, they are newer for the most part, like, all within the past couple of seasons, except for, like, the core 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So it's like it's a different team. It's the fact that we still have the core 4 which obviously is a even larger part of the salary of, you know, your cap this year. I can see why people would say it's the same team because of, like, where the money has gone. Hasn't necessarily changed all that much, but it is a different team, and I never know if they're gonna be good or not. I find August is still too early to do season predictions. I believe that season predictions, you can do them after preseason.
Yeah.
At least so you can see players be on the ice together.
There's, like, you could have a team of, like, the best players ever, and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna win the cup, and it's like, yeah, but if they don't work well on the ice, they're not gonna do a whole lot.
When did he get a sitcom?
Oh, it's been out ages. Bad education.
Sorry, we should have turned the TV off.
We're, like, sat right in front of the TV, and Victoria.
And we were watching Friday Night Dinner, and so then we paused Netflix, and now it's doing the thing where it shows you, like, the highlights from, like, not highlights, it does, like, the stills, and then, like, to promote
Emily
shows
in Paris
and stuff.
Pops up, I just go, just Skinner.
But yeah, so I don't know, but I do, you know what, captain, sure, why not?
Nice one.
All right, sell more jerseys.
Yeah. Like,
oh my god, Keith Pelly comes in, we're not here to sell jerseys, immediately announces a new captain, in which then people will buy new jerseys. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. Congratulations to Auston Matthews. How the rest of the leadership group will and A's will be distributed is up for question. You know, you very much could. I don't know, because I don't know. I see a lot of people then that are like, okay, take away Mitch Marner's A. I'm like, guys,
I'm not gonna take away Mitch's A.
Like it's the same people who have been saying trade Mitch Marner for about 3 years, which like, shut up. But yeah, I don't know how the rest of the A's will be distributed. All we know for sure is that John Tavares will get an A. That Brad Treliving said that. Someone asked him out blank, and Brad Treliving answered, I don't have a decision for the rest of the leadership group, but John Tavares will get an A, which is fine. I have no problem with that.
No,
I don't think anyone would. No,
but because, like, even if he's not the captain, he's still a huge
Yeah, huge part of that
Part of
locker room
the
is
locker
huge
room.
leadership guy, and I don't think you can argue with that looking at his resume.
No.
And also as well, it's like, even if a player doesn't have an A, it doesn't mean that they're not a part of the leadership group. I think, in the past couple seasons, William Nylander has fallen into that category of like player with leadership qualities and has become more of a leadership. And this is not me making stuff up. This is something his teammates and other people within the Leafs organization have said about him, but he is part of that leadership group. He just doesn't have a letter. I think also as well, I heard like Jake McCabe is also like one of those guys who is part of that leadership group in that locker room as well. And it's something where you
can't give everyone on the team
you can't give every
mean
guy
anything.
who's a leader, who shows leadership qualities, a letter. That's not how this works. But I think also as well, leadership, especially in a hockey team, is more than the letter you have on your chest. So whatever. And I think the last little Leaf nugget we have is congratulations to Tessa Virtue and Morgan Riley for welcoming their son, McCormick Riley. He looks absolutely adorable. I think going with the nickname of Mick, which is really cute, according to Tessa's Instagram. Draft class of 2042 is going to be absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, I have written in my notes, McCormick Riley, I hope you like skating.
Yeah, but yeah, no, congratulations to them. It's good. It's really cute.
Also, the potential dad power.
Yeah, Morgan Riley dad power.
Morgan Riley hat trick incoming.
I think just like, I think about like Morgan Riley dad power with also like in the playoffs. McCormick Riley, you will be sitting in a Stanley Cup.
You will.
You will be placed in that cup.
Get comfy.
I hope you like silver bowls. Get ready for your like 1 year photo shoot to be you sitting in the Stanley Cup.
Oh, how iconic would that be?
But yeah, no, cute. It's the name actually is also really sweet. It's Tessa's mother's maiden name. It's very Irish of a name, however. Very Irish. But yeah, no, I think with the nickname Nick, it's really cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have on the Leafs. I guess we can talk about some actual news, and then we'll talk about weddings. Yeah, so this morning, or last night if you're in North America, because it was at 4 a.m. for us. I woke up to this news because I was not awake at 4 a.m. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, it was 4 a.m. I checked, but it was at 11 p.m. Eastern time, which still is 8 p.m. on the West Coast, which is the two teams that are involved in this trade. But yeah, Cody Ceci traded to the San Jose Sharks for along with a 3rd round pick for Ty Emberson, who is a highly touted prospect, I believe. At least from what I've seen. But yeah, it was 11 p.m. on a Sunday in on the East Coast, which is where probably most of like the hockey media people, I don't know.
Yeah. But it was a lovely thing for me to wake up to. The first thing
not even a good morning.
You just turn over and just go, yeah, by the way. I'm just gonna go, huh, and just back to sleep.
Yeah, no, that was the thing. Where it was like, I woke up, checked my phone, I was like, what? I look over at you, you're still sleeping, and I'm like, I'm not gonna wake her up for this. But I sat there and I was like, sure, why not? Why not this happen at 4 a.m.? But yeah, that's not the only thing that's involved. I mean, I don't know. I guess whatever, Edmonton Oilers fans no longer have to watch Cody Ceci play hockey, which I guess is a good thing. You know what? It is a good thing as someone who has had Cody Ceci on their team.
The horror in your eyes.
I've seen things. I will say Hugo Cece, his dog, very cute. Also, I like, you know how they do that, like that relay, the rough relay, with their dogs. I think he won last year. So maybe this is just Connor McDavid's plan on guaranteeing Lenny a win.
Lenny McDavid,
forget Jeremy Swayman's girlfriend using her mafia ties to get Linus Ullmark traded to Ottawa. Connor McDavid used his Connor McDavid, like, McJesus powers to get Cody Cece traded to San Jose so that Lenny could win the rough relay. Oh, and not have to put up with the competition of Hugo Cece. Cody Cece's very adorable French bulldog.
You know what? Yeah, sure, why not?
That's what I think. This wasn't a salary dump. This was an inside job.
Inside job.
I don't know. I watched the documentary on Westminster. I know how competitive these dog shows get.
Lenny McDavid, Nepo baby.
Are you writing that down?
No, I'm doodling. Although I've got room.
But yeah, I should have actually written down what Cody Cece's cap hit was and just how much room they're producing, and they've gained now, but we're using my phone to record and it's fine. This is an extremely casual episode.
This is our most serious episode ever. We're sat in our Sunday best.
We're sat in our pajamas.
Sunday best.
On the floor of your living room. Anyways, also as well, St. Louis Blues had offer sheets for Edmonton Oilers' Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. The deadline for the Edmonton Oilers to match those is tomorrow.
I know a lot of people who are going to be very upset if the Oilers don't do something.
Yeah. I will say real hockey is back. We're getting offer sheets. We haven't had offer sheets in forever. I miss offer sheets. I think the decline in offer sheets is partly because of the salary cap. You can't just be like, oh, here's a bunch of money that we're gonna throw at this restricted free agent and force a team to either let him go or to pay more money than what we're willing to pay for him, or at least match it. It's fun. It's a fun little part of it that doesn't get utilized enough because people are afraid of spending money. If you want the best is the Joe Sakic documentary.
Still not watched it.
Oh, it's so good. It's on Prime. Go watch it. It's essentially about this when the New York Rangers offer sheeted Joe Sakic and he almost went to the New York Rangers. Instead, he continued to stay in Colorado and won a Stanley Cup. Actually, won 2. But yeah, no. I'd say real hockey's back. I don't know enough about the Edmonton Oilers to say if the money is worth it. But what I will say is that currently I still think the Edmonton Oilers still do not have enough room to match both of them. So they have to create more room, or they have to be willing to part with one of them. I think what I saw is that they would like to, I think kind of the thing that I saw is that, if they can't keep both, they should keep Dylan Holloway and then let Philip Broberg go to St. Louis. I think it's a tidy piece of work from St. Louis, who has a ton of cap space and is at this point just trying to have enough players.
Yeah.
To actually put out an NHL product.
Oh yeah. Or just enough players to do something.
Yeah. But yeah, more news. Flip on the page. Also as well, Pittsburgh Penguins acquired Cody Glass from Nashville, along with a 2025 third round and a 2025 sixth round for Jordan Fresca, who has just been, so far in the points of his career, a career ECHL player. Which that apparently, I don't know how to put that, if that is a, Kyle Dubas fleece masterclass, or if that is also a combination of Nashville needing to dump salary, or what, because I don't know why you would want to get rid of Cody Glass, who has shown promise. He just didn't have a great season last year. But whatever. You know what? I saw that trade and I literally went, that is the most Kyle Dubas trade I have ever seen.
Oh, Kyle.
The only thing Kyle has left to do though is to sign that Sidney Crosby extension.
Yeah. Come on, Kyle. You know you want to.
That's what's left. And where is it? In terms of extension news, we have a couple that I want to just highlight. No, I don't have the numbers. It's fine.
Who needs numbers?
Who needs numbers when I can just say Brock Faber signed an 8-year extension?
Yeah!
I think it's like 8.1 or something. It's because it's like it was a.
He's making money now.
Yeah, just over $8 million a year for in cap hit for Brock Faber for the Minnesota Wild.
Bro.
Good for Brock. I think honestly that's a smart move by the Wild, because Brock Faber, even as incredibly cap strapped as they are right now, Brock Faber is like the future of that organization. He is the future of that blue line, and I think
it's Brock Faber.
You want him locked down at 8, which I think in a couple of years 8 is going to be the new 5. It's like saying 30 is the like 40 is the new 30 or whatever. But yeah, $8 million is probably going to be the new 5 in about 3 years.
Yeah, it's gonna
if the cap continues to go up, as we've seen, like, well, we've had years of a flat cap that's just ended, but moving forward.
And so just go Brock. Look at him.
Go Brock. Yeah, no, it's good for him. Minnesota, like, local guy getting to, like, grew up a Wild fan, you know, now gets to essentially play the prime years of his career, bar a trade, but I don't think they would be dumb to trade him. Yeah. But, you know, gets to play out the prime years of his career, you know, for his childhood favorite team in his hometown, like, with his family there and everything, and I think that's just really good. Good for him.
Good for him.
You know, I think, honestly, you could look at, this is maybe getting ahead of myself, and also as well, we are not in the Minnesota Wild locker room.
No way.
But, I don't know. Do you make him captain after Jared Spurgeon retires? Marcy's giving me a nod. Put that on the record.
Brock Faber, captain.
Captain Brock. And you do it like you do a pun on like Captain Spock. Is it Captain? Like Spock from Star Trek?
I'm sat nodding. I'm just like, I know of Star Trek. I've watched it.
I haven't seen Star Trek. What I know about Star Trek comes from watching Big Bang Theory. But yeah, some other signings. Travis Konechny signed an extension with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay.
Good for him. Good for him to stick around in Philly. Also as well, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen signed an extension with the Buffalo Sabres.
Huge day for me.
Yeah, huge day for you. I think I called you.
You did call me.
Because it was the day after the Connor Dewar signing, or was it the day before? It was like right around then.
Yeah, there was similar time, I think.
Yeah, and so I called you then and I had to let you know. I had to inform you.
So I mean, I did have my phone on doing it disturbed for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is now carried on to just constantly.
Yeah. I find it's like better to sleep.
Oh yeah, I mean I always sleep with my phone on do not disturb, but I'm quite happy with the situation I've got going, which is no notifications apart from text, because that means something's happened.
Yeah. But good for those two guys as well. Yeah, and then also as well, Evgeny Kuznetsov had his contract terminated with Carolina and signed a deal in the KHL, which, you know what? good for him. I wish him all the best, and I think, you know what, playing in Russia, where he is probably closer to friends and family that he has there, is able to speak his own language, is able to, you know, live in his home country and play hockey, is probably best for him mentally.
Yeah.
And health-wise and everything, and just general overall happiness. I think that's what I like, is I think, you know, because I think a lot of people forget about this, because we're so used to most of the league being North American, is that having a player come over from Europe can have a huge impact on you, because not only are you're separated from your family and friends like most players are, when they play in a city that's not their hometown. They also are having to learn a new culture, or even perhaps a new language as well, and English is not easy. And they have to try and get used to this while also, you know, playing a very demanding sport that's very demanding on them physically and mentally, and also then having to have people like who will get mad at them if they have an off day, because it'll affect the game and things like that. So I think, you know what, it's good for him to play in Russia. From the videos I've seen, it seems to be like he's enjoying himself. He's playing really well. In the clips, I don't know. There's people posting practice clips and things like that. So good for him. Good for him. Columbus Blue Jackets hired the head coach. They hired Dean Evanson, who was most recently, I think, the first coach that we covered, like, officially covered the firing of when he got fired from the Wild.
Yeah, that was the Wild was the first firing.
Yeah.
That we.
Because then we have my infamous, he's bald.
Yeah. He's bald.
But yeah, so Dean Evanson, who was fired by the Minnesota Wild last season, was hired as the head coach for Columbus, which I think is, out of the options that were out there, one of the better ones.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, Minnesota Wild had a couple of young guys for a while, and now he will be that guy in the locker room for Columbus. You know what? And I think also as well, it's very easy to do better than Mike Babcock.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
very easy to do a lot better just by.
And I think also as well, like, some of the other names that were like, I was like, Ron McClellan as well, and things like that, where I was like, you know what? And I was telling this to you know, people who are more familiar with Columbus Blue Jackets, saying, like, Dean Evanson, like, is a solid choice for that team in the way that they are built right now, and, like, what kind of team they'll be this season, and how young they are, and sort of just, like, the fact that they're not really expected to do all that well. So, yeah. And more kind of Columbus, like, you don't know, I'm not going to open the Line A can of worms.
No, I feel like
I'm not going to squeeze that toothpaste tube.
No.
That's a conversation. That's more like we'll dictate when there's actual news that comes out about his future. We'll talk about that situation, maybe probably come September or something, or we'll do, I don't know, some season preview stuff and things like that. I know of some we can have on the show. But yeah, Stan Bowman was hired as the Oilers GM as well. He was the GM of Chicago Blackhawks in 2010 and aided and abetted in the cover-up of the sexual assault of multiple of players, including Kyle Beach, by Steve Aldrich. Why?
Just why?
Like, there were so many other options.
But no.
Instead they chose to go this route, which then has everybody mad at them, and then, I don't know, it's just
not a good idea,
it's
is
not,
it?
no, and I know, like, Stan Bowman, like, has done work and things like that, and all this stuff, and there was, like, the Sheldon Kennedy statement that came out, which I read through, and even then asked my communications planning professor about it, and he was like, yeah, that's PR, but it doesn't mean that it's not genuine. I was like, thank you, sir. And I was actually very proud of myself that I managed to ask that without having to then explain the entire situation, because, like, maybe not.
Yeah, probably not the best thing for just, like, an after class.
It was meant to be, like, a very, like, quick, like, after class question, and then it turned into a 15-minute discussion about PR and, like, the use of genuinity and sincerity in PR and sort of everything. But yeah, anyways, it was a very fascinating discussion, but it was after class and
not getting into all that.
Yeah. I also think as well, like, he wasn't that great of a GM in Chicago anyways. It was like, essentially it is like handing over a fully renovated house and just asking a guy to put the light switch covers on.
Yeah. Like,
that's what happened in Chicago. Is like Chicago Blackhawks, like that Stanley Cup winning team was very, very good, and all Stan Bowman got was the keys, and he was handed the keys and told to put the light switch covers on. And that is about the same as Edmonton. You know, they went to the Stanley Cup final last season. They were a goal away. Yeah. A goal away.
So close.
And so I think, you know, that they'll go back. Like, I think that's a team that definitely is going to become a cup contender this season, and perhaps probably will win it. Who knows? I can't think of a team in the East that maybe could come close to challenging them. I can't. And you could be like, oh, Florida lost too many good, like...
Nah.
And people are like, oh, Florida can do it again. I don't think Florida can repeat. That's like...
Florida have been there, done that.
Been that, but also as well as, like, you have to look at, like, the piece... They have kept their, like, top guys. But they've lost a lot of smaller... They've lost a lot of depth. That was what made them so dangerous last year. Like, losing Montour... Losing Stolarz, who was, like, a solid backup for them. Who could be... like, potentially, like, was putting up the stats to be a starter on his own, but was your backup backing up Bobrovsky. Like, you know, you lose Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who had a fantastic season. You lose Tarasenko, who you got halfway through, who put up fantastic points for you. There's probably also a couple of other guys as well who I'm trying to think of that I can't off the top of my head, but, like, your depth is all restructured, and they didn't really replace it with a lot, anything too notable.
Yeah, I think it's like you've got the key players, but also you can't win on a small group of key players.
The Leafs are a prime example of that.
Yeah, it has to be a full team.
Yeah, and they just have lost too many of the pieces that made them, like, a full team. But yeah, no, but so I don't know who on the East. Maybe New York. I don't know. I don't think it's Carolina. I think Carolina's lost too much.
Maybe it's Aye.
Don't say it. We're gonna get called delusional Leaf fans again.
I mean, we are.
Yeah. But, and this is technically a Leafs podcast, but no. I don't know. I just, like, that's the thing. It's like the Edmonton Oilers, like, I think the battle's in the West now.
Yeah.
It used to be the battles in the Atlantic, the East, specifically the Atlantic, for years, and now I think the battle's in the West. But yes, I just, you know what, I don't know, like, I think I could be the GM of the Edmonton Oilers and win a Stanley Cup. Like, if that's the thing, like, if the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup this coming season, Stan Bowman did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And it could be the point where it's like, Stan Bowman, like, you could hand anyone the keys to that team, and the same outcome would happen.
Yeah, like, you could make my sister the GM of that team, and they'd still win, and she does not.
No, but she would slay the pantsuits, though.
She would. You know what? Can we do it just for that?
Can we put your sister into the team just to see what fashion moments she has?
She would end everyone.
Best dressed GM ghost.
But you know she'd colour coordinate her nails with it as well.
She would. You're so right. You're so right.
Anyway, my sister could outstyle the entire NHL.
Absolutely, she could.
And she already has.
She already does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways, but yeah, anyway, that's all. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to sound like a broken record because I think Steve Dangle did a fantastic way of talking about. I hate to give him.
I was gonna say, when those words are never coming out of your mouth again.
No, they're not. But it's like, I think I've said this so many times where it's like, if the Steve Dangle podcast like didn't talk about the Leafs, it would actually be a really well done hockey podcast because their opinions on like non-Leaf topics are fantastic and great. And like, go there, you can go and like actually just watch the like just like, you don't have to go to the episode that they talked about it. They'll have like the clip. They have it like clipped on their YouTube, but you can go and watch that. And like, I think it's really well put out and really calmly said, and not a lot of yelling, and just well done. And as has been all of their discussions about this same topic and things like that, and everything related to that team. But yeah, also as well, today, this was news today, Yaroslav Askarov, who is a goalie prospect for the Nashville Predators, has requested a trade, and is saying that he will not report for training camp in Milwaukee, for the AHL training camp for the Milwaukee Admirals. And then Barry Trotz, I should have sent this tweet for you because I realized I can't see my team, then put out a statement and said that he will be reporting. We will not be trading him, and his expectation will be to report to training camp, which aka messy situation, because then Kevin Weeks stirred the pot by when he announced this news that Askarov requested a trade, made a video, put out his tweet, and then had his little stupid video, in which his video is him saying breaking news in front of the CN Tower in Toronto. Which I don't know if he's done it because like the Leafs could be interested, which, what is that trade? What does that trade look like at all? Or if that just happens to be where he was when he got that little text message or whatever, and he decided to stir the pot, or if he just really likes the CN Tower.
I want it to be that he just really likes the CN Tower.
Or he really liked, because like where he was standing was like in front of the CN Tower. There's like this like area, I think it's maybe called a park or something, where it's just all these like old Canada Rail train cars. It's like a little mini museum, because it's like, oh my god, there's a name, it's like the train turntable. That's not the official name of it, but it's like this, like, you know, when like, have you watched Thomas the Tank Engine?
I am of course.
Is Thomas the Tank Engine British? But anyway, you know how they have like the where they all sleep, and then there's the spinny thing that like is like the track that rotates so that they can all get into their little garages. That's not what it's called. But you know what?
Yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine's British.
Oh,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, well, it's that. There used to be one there in Toronto, and so then they turned it into a mini train museum and things like that.
Oh, cute.
So anyway, that's where he was. So maybe he just really likes trains.
You know what? Good for him.
But yeah. So that's a story. I don't know, the update. Like, I don't have any more updates than that, though. That's the thing about that story. But yeah, that's all kind of what we missed. Maybe. Actually, no. Oh, we didn't talk about weddings. Wedding season, yeah. So, McDavid wedding.
Lauren Kyle won. Are you single? Because you look great in your wedding dress.
She looked fantastic. It looked great. It was up in the Muskokas. It was like a 10-day event. They brought in infrastructure for it. They like especially like there was someone who made a TikTok about like the property that they rented for it, and it was like $40,000 a day or something stupid to rent that property. That was water access only, which I saw a lot of people going, water access only, whole like that's like rich people type things, like, oh my god. But like I have to like provide some context. So like I don't want to say most properties, but about 50%, I think about 50% of the properties up in cottage country and like Ontario and things like the Muskokas, the Kawarthas, like Parry Sound and up there is like lake access because there's just no roads. So like, I don't know, I saw lake access and I was like not surprised it was lake access. I will say though, I would love to know the logistics that went into parking the cars for all of the guests at the marina.
Yeah, 'cause there were a fair few people
there was a lot of people there, and I don't know if it maybe like it happened to be that there was, like, NHLers who had their cottages on the same lake and they could just, like, boat over, or if they had to, like, hire water taxis or what.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to know
how it works.
I just want to know the logistics of, like, parking all of the cars at the marina.
Yeah, 'cause
Was there, like, a bus? Did they do, like, a coach bus or something?
a little school bus.
I don't know. Like, that was, like, was there, like, a shuttle from Toronto or something? Who knows? But, yeah.
Madness.
It looked gorgeous. It looked absolutely gorgeous. I think anytime you can get Loud Luxury to DJ your after party,
You know, not bad.
It's-
Wouldn't complain.
it's pretty good. Lauren Kyle had, like, 5 looks for the entire weekend. All of them were gorgeous. All of them were, vintage bridal fashion?
Yeah, they were all, like, either vintage or, like, incredibly expensive custom.
Yeah.
Like,
I think because her dress was a Vivienne Westwood. Like, a vintage Vivienne Westwood.
It was such a nice dress.
But that's cool. I liked that. I liked that aspect. I think it all looked really great. I think it looked like a blast. There was a bunch of Edmonton Oilers there. Pat Maroon was there. 'Cause, yeah, sure.
It was so funny. Every single picture we
No,
looked at.
literally.
Because we found the pictures while
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
waiting to board.
Yeah, so also as well as, like, then it got, like, a full spread in Vogue Australia, and then they were the ones who released the pictures and things like that. And so we were boarding our flight from Dublin to Leeds. And we were standing in line to board the flight. Like, they had called our flight to board, and the
We
pictures
stood passports and boarding passes in hand.
and the pictures came out, and we were scrolling through, and we were like, oh my god. And in every single one where there was, like, a big group of guests, somehow Patrick Maroon found his way into that picture, which made me question how many guests were actually really there if I kept seeing Patrick. I mean, Patrick Maroon is a hard man to miss in a crowd.
You kind of... You
It's
will
like,
pick him out.
it's like Darnell Nurse's, like, bald, shiny head. But he was, like, all over the place. I don't know. I don't know why he was there, because, like, did Patrick Maroon never played in Edmonton? Did he not? No.
No.
But, like, it could be the Canada thing. I don't know.
Maybe they're just besties.
Maybe they're just friends. I don't know how Patrick Maroon got there, but he was there, and
Maybe he just, like, snuck on.
I don't know. Wedding crash. But yeah, then it looks fun. It looks like a blast.
Pat Maroon is now in Vogue Australia.
Pat Maroon is now in Vogue Australia. I will also say big thank you to Mark McMorris, who was then posting a bunch of pictures after the wedding.
So much content.
Thank you, Mark McMorris.
Thank you.
I still find it funny. I again don't know how him and Connor McDavid are friends. Because, like, I know Mark McMorris and Mitch Martin are friends because they're both Red Bull athletes.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe, no, because I'm trying to think of, like, where Mark McMorris lives now, and I don't think it's Edmonton. If it's anything, it's Calgary. Because that's where a lot of, like, the training stuff for, like, Freestyle Canada and stuff are. I guess maybe, like, once you become, like, a really, really successful, like, top of your sport, like, Canadian athlete, you just sort of get added to a group chat where there's a bunch of them and you all become friends.
Besties.
I think because it's the same way where it's like all the Swedish athletes know each other. Like the Swedish, the Olympic, like, Swedish pole vaulter is friends with Rasmus Sandin, which because they're from the same town, so maybe they just went to high school together. I don't know, right? Like, it's like that stuff like that.
Madness.
But yeah, Cale Makar got weddinged.
Cale Makar got weddinged.
You know that, like, got milk ad? Got wedding. Cale Makar got married in Calgary, or Canmore, or Banff, or somewhere in Alberta, this past weekend.
Good for him.
All I have written down for that one was big up cowbell. Because there's that video of him absolutely having the time of his life with that cowbell.
He's so interesting. I love him.
And anyway, Cale Makar, what a guy. A bunch of Colorado Avalanche were there, including Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, and I realized we should have talked about, Gabriel Landeskog was on the ice in a practice in Colorado.
Which could mean nothing.
Could mean nothing, but then also as well, Jared Bednar was asked about it, and he said he could be ready for the early season. So, that's good.
Yay!
Yeah, Eric Johnson was on the ice with him, and then Nathan McKinnon was just watching.
We just sat there.
He was just sat on the bench, literally exactly like that, like just sitting there on the bench watching. But yeah, I also have written down Sebastian Aho got married. Congratulations to him. And then I have Seth Jarvis takes on Finland, because then Seth Jarvis spent like 2 weeks in Finland because of that wedding and just hung out with all the Finns on the Carolina Hurricanes. Jamie Benn got married. Good for him.
Like, this all happened, like, whilst I was...
Yeah.
Like, I found out...
And then there also, I think, was a Flyer who got married. I don't know. I think that's all the weddings. I've probably missed some. I definitely have missed some.
Yeah. I know I've seen some more wedding things from various people who I'm just like, I know that you're married. That's about
Congratulations.
It. But yeah.
Well, I mean, Leon Draisaitl got engaged. In a backwards baseball cap. Jesus. If I got engaged to in a backwards baseball cap, I'd knock it off his head.
No, I'd let him, like, get through his whole speech, and then I'd be like, right, you're gonna
do it
take
again.
your hat off, and then you're gonna do it all over again.
Yeah.
At least he wasn't like Shane Dawson proposal. Backwards.
I delete the pictures. We wouldn't know that they've gotten engaged because there would be no pictures.
Divorced before the engagement.
Divorced before the engagement. But yeah, I know Offside's working on a piece where they collect all the weddings that happened this offseason. Yay. So, yeah, I think that was all of the actual hockey discussion stuff that we had. But now we can talk about our trip a little bit. So if you actually don't care about what we do outside of talk about hockey on a podcast,
thanks for listening.
We'll be back in September.
See you soon.
We'll be back in September. I don't know when in September because I only found out about a week ago that Marcy was going back to Scotland.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me. And I was fully prepared to go like first week of September. We'll get started with like season preview stuff. Yeah. It's fine. I can just have guests by myself.
You're seeing other people? Behind my back?
Okay, now people are gonna think we're dating.
Not dating, just married. Oh.
My parents listen to the show.
Hi. Hope you're well. I've looked after her. She's not dead.
I'm well fed.
Very well fed.
But yeah, no. Well, we went to Belfast and we spent a couple days in Belfast.
We had a lovely hike.
Oh my! It was a 7-kilometer hike.
It was
uphill.
Great.
Like
I want to go back just to do that.
No, because it was really gorgeous at the top. We did the Caville hike, which highly recommend if you're in Belfast. I think we recommended it to everyone who asked us.
I pulled out the All Trails map.
All Trails. And yeah, we had a picnic at the top. It was really nice. And then what else did we do in Belfast? We walked around. We got in the middle of a march, accidentally trying to get the bus to Belfast Castle. We walked around Queen's University of Belfast. Found out Edu Rome is international. Dope.
We ate a lot of food.
We had a lot of food. A lot of Guinness.
So much Guinness. And it was incredible.
Oh, I went into Tim Hortons and got really upset.
You had like a whole religious experience when you looked at the menu.
Yeah, well, because you guys have waffle fries.
Yeah, we do. And we have the grilled cheese.
You don't have muffins, though.
No.
We have more bakery stuff, but, like, yeah. It was also really funny, though, because, like, there is a framed picture of Tim Horton in all of these Tim Hortons. And as well, like, it's very Canadian in their branding. Like, I would have thought they would have, like, toned it down in the way of, like, they would have been like, oh, Tim Hortons coffee. But no, it's Tim Hortons Canada, which is really funny. Like, there's this, like, in all of them, there's this huge, like, wall mural of, like, Canada.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But, yeah.
A little slice of home.
Little slice of home. It was nice. I could order a double from their menus, and it was called a double, which that is what I did.
You did, and you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. Coffee tastes better than ours. Yeah, we had fun in Belfast.
You had your first Greggs.
I had my first Greggs, and the first Greggs we walked, and it was really funny because I had been in Ireland for all of 3 hours because I took the bus up from Dublin that day. And I'm sitting in Greg's having my first sausage roll, and Niall Horan is playing. And I thought it was some sort of sick joke. The country was not real. What else? We walked around the botanical gardens. Yeah, Belfast was fun.
There was a lot of live music.
So much live music. And then we learned that the places that we went to in search of live music were bad.
Yeah.
We met some lovely locals, and they told us it was bad.
You're like, oh, where have you been? And we were like, yeah, we went here. And
they're like, ooh. And we're like, well, we didn't know. And they were like, well.
And it's like, we sat next to a hen do.
Oh.
Both nights. First hen do, much drinker.
Yeah.
Thrilling.
It was
incredible.
It was great. It was so much fun. And then we went to Dublin. And what did we do in Dublin? We found some donuts right by our hostel that were really, really good.
So good.
They were very good.
I miss them.
I miss them too. And then we
did a lot of walking.
We did so much walking.
We did almost 100,000 steps over 4 days.
Yeah, we painted some tote bags in our hostel. That was fun. We went on a pub crawl.
What a pub crawl!
I managed to encounter I made friends with every Canadian on the pub crawl. Shout out to the 2 girls from Edmonton, the 2 girls from Newfoundland. We had a lovely chat about Cole Harbour and Cindy Crosby. We had a lovely chat about, because one of them lived in and around Halifax. And then the 3 people, the 2 brothers from Montreal, and then the girl from Montreal.
Happy 18th birthday, Leah.
And then I think that was all of the Canadian. We made friends with a guy from Philadelphia whose friend writes for, like, a Flyers news site.
Which was, of course.
Of course. We made friends with the Australians as well.
Yeah, I miss them.
But no, the pub crawl, I will say, if you're ever traveling and your hostel does a pub crawl, do the pub crawl.
Do it.
You're going to hate yourself the next morning.
But it's so worth it.
It's so fun. Because what it was like, we got a half pint of Guinness for €14. We got a half pint of Guinness.
Drink deals
up the wazoo. And they were all good. And then we got
Jaeger bombs, €12.
Was it the 3 shots? Was it 3 shots
it was
we got?
4 for 10.
No, but no, not the cherry schnapps. No, but the because it's like, and then after you get your, like, half pint of Guinness, then every place you went into except for the clubs, it was like you got then
a free shot,
like a welcome shot when you walked in, and one of them happened to be
Pink Whitney.
Literally, it was Pink Whitney, and I almost had a freaking mental breakdown in this, like, one of the oldest pubs in Dublin. It was like, and I was like, I get handed a shot, I'm like, it's Pink. And I take the shot, and I was like, oh my god, they've handed me Pink Whitney. And then I like turned to someone who was like, oh, what's the, like, someone asked, it's like, oh, what's the shot? And I was like, oh, it's Pink Whitney. And they're like, what's Pink Whitney? And then I had to explain Pink Whitney. I was like, it's just pink lemonade vodka. But I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh.
Yeah. Tried whiskey and red lemonade.
I loved it.
That was actually a nice combination.
I think I've been converted into a whiskey lover, because before I was kind of very
about it.
If it's the last thing on earth, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was nice. Whiskey. And we had fun. We danced. We shut down the club.
2 nights running.
2 nights in a row. Did some.
I went to a club in my walking boots.
Yeah.
You know what? People laughed, but it was a good idea.
Your feet were in better shape than mine the next day. But yeah, no, it was so fun. We had a great time on the pub crawl. It was really nice. We got to meet some nice people, and it was cool. It's like, because it is just a night out, but you are going with like essentially a giant group of friends, and everyone's there.
Yeah, because it's like everyone was from I think there's 4 hostels that just combined to do it.
And also as well, it's like you meet people, and like everyone was so open to just like it was different than when you go on a night out and you're just then trying to like meet people.
But like this was like everyone wanted to just like
everyone wanted to have conversations, and like you.
Yeah, we were just chatting with like so many different people.
I think it was like we kind of had like. We talked with like a different group of people like every bar we went to, and then also as well it's like from the walk to and from each you're talking to people and things like that. Like I had met 2 girls, one of them was Australian, one of them was German, who then met working like out west in Canada, and so I was talking to them about like Whistler and things like that. I was like, oh yeah, no, like I'm from, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and then shout out to the 2 German guys.
Shout out to the 2 German guys
who we will never be able to figure out. The vibes were weird.
But yeah, so and then what else did we do in Dublin? We
did a walking tour.
If
you get the chance to go on a walking tour around Dublin and the guy leading it is quite short and called Dave.
Shout out to
Dave, absolute icon. There were on that walking tour so many people from Yorkshire. There was a girl from the city next to me, and a guy who lived quite literally a 10-minute walk down the road from. Yeah. Where I grew up.
Well, that was also as well. It's like it was so fun. It was so enjoyable.
It was great.
It was great. I was talked a little to the girl from Chicago. But yeah, no, it was nice. And yeah, no, especially because it's like all the time like there'll be like free walking tours that are then like pay what you can at the end. Do those ones because we did a 2.5. What was it? 2 hours.
It was
2.5 hours.
It was 11 till 2. So it was 3 hours. Yeah. And then we had a 15
break.
minutes.
Yeah. So it was like a 3-hour walking tour, and you really got to see the whole city, which is something we wouldn't have done, like, by ourselves.
No.
I don't think we would have gone.
And, like, you learn things, because he grew up there as well, and his family was, like, all local.
Well, because you can walk around and things, and you can, like, see the same, but you don't know the history and how it ties into, like, Irish history and like history of Dublin and things like that. So
and he gave us pub recommendations.
He gave us pub recommendations, which we did actually use. It was really nice. And then we went to the Guinness Storehouse
and got a really good sandwich on the way.
Oh my god, that sandwich! Yeah. Okay, and that was also really cool. That's well worth it because it is a self-guided tour.
But it's like that means
it's just a museum.
Yeah.
And it like explains you the history of Guinness and how they make the beer and things like that.
There's a whole little tasting section.
Yeah, and then you do a tasting and you learn how to properly like taste Guinness, and then you go upstairs and then they have this huge, gorgeous, like 360 glass bar, and you get a free pint of Guinness with your tour if you book in advance.
Yeah, which was so fun.
We stood up there, drank our Guinness, and then went.
We'd been defeated by walking.
We
had to get the bus. We caved. But then also shout out to the guy who, when we got on the bus, we realised we didn't have cash to pay with.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you guys tourists?" And we were like,
"Yeah."
And he was like, and he just let us on the bus.
Yeah. But then
shout out to him.
And then we all got tacos after off of a recommendation from my friend.
I think about them.
Oh, they were really
all
good.
the time.
They were really good tacos.
I had a vegan cauliflower one. It was like chunks of deep fried cauliflower with a really gorgeous peanut sauce on top.
Yeah. And then we had our final, took in some live music, had our final pint, and then we
had donuts for breakfast.
The next day before our flight. And then I've spent the past week.
Yeah.
6 days.
6 days.
Oh. With your family?
Yeah. we land, my mum and sister come to pick us up from the airport. We go out for a meal.
Yeah, I get Toby Carvery. I get my first proper British roast dinner.
First of two.
You've
been spoiled.
We went on a hike the next day.
Yeah, I
saw 2 people.
We went on like a little hike up, like to these rocks near where I went to school,
Saw 2 people you went to school with. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. I got to experience my first ever A-levels day.
Yeah, it was my sister's A-level results day. The same day that we came from Bradford to Manchester. So Emma got to experience that.
I will say, Mercy went to the most absolutely stereotypical British school I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was something, I was like, because there isn't really an equivalent to it. Like, we don't, like your grade 12 marks get mailed to you in your report card. You don't go back in and pick them up and things like that. I did see no tears, though. I was expecting more tears.
Yeah, I was also... But I think because I left that school after year 11, so I didn't do sixth form. Went to a different sixth form. There were tears at my sixth form. But I think that sixth form at my old school was very academically...
Competitive?
Yeah.
Mm.
They weren't big on doing humanities, which is why I left, because I wanted to do humanities. I mean, I did sociology, criminology,
yeah,
and DT. So yeah, but no, it was fun. My sister beat me again.
Yeah,
she got 1 grade higher than me.
Poor thing.
She also beat me in GCSEs, so I will never win. And she's doing a proper degree.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's not doing stupid.
'Cause what is she going for?
She's doing physiotherapy.
Yeah.
I'm doing archaeology, which this year I have 6 contact hours a week.
But yeah, and then we came to Manchester.
Yeah, we had a wander around the uni.
Yeah.
We went to
the museum. We had Cal come visit us for his
Cal came to visit.
We spent a day with Cal.
We did. That was fun. We went to Spoons. You had your first Spoons trip.
I had my Spoons, and then we watched the IndyCar, and it went way too late. And then premiere and breakfast.
I will say, Joseph Newgarden, you're welcome. I am taking full credit for that win because I called him a DILF amongst many other things earlier that day. Then it's raining.
And then
yesterday we had a Premier Inn breakfast.
Lovely.
Because turns out you don't have to stay at Premier Inn to get a Premier Inn breakfast.
I'm sure 8% of UK listeners will appreciate that fact.
Yeah, fun fact. I did not know that. But we went and had a Premier Inn breakfast.
Had a Premier Inn breakfast, and then we
went back to Bradford.
I had a lovely roast
Sunday
roast dinner.
Yeah.
With your grandparents.
And I was also present.
Wasn't just me alone.
No, we went back to Bradford because it turns out after we'd booked all our flights and everything, my mum realised that we had tickets to see Aladdin. So thank God the seat next to the 3 that were booked
was empty.
So we also booked that.
Yeah. And
but no, if you get this chance to see Aladdin,
it was really fun.
It was so good.
So fun, yeah. And we did that, and then we drove back to Manchester last night, and that's been so fun.
Yeah.
I leave in a couple days.
Tomorrow's your last
to go
day.
to the Netherlands. Yeah.
Which I don't like.
I know, I don't like that this trip is coming to an end. I don't want it to end. But, yeah, it's been fun. We've been having a grand old time. And
tomorrow you get to use the washing machine.
Yeah.
Now that it's been off limits. And I'm like, tomorrow is your washing machine day.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of been like what our trip and things like that. I don't know if people are actually gonna like this part, but
it's a good little chit chat.
Yeah. I don't know.
And if not, it's there for us to listen back to in like 50 years.
Jeez.
And we're like, oh, remember our travels.
Remembered. But yeah, it's been really funny in it's been just over a week and a half.
Because you're here for 12 days total. So it's been 10 days now.
Week and a half. And people twice have thought that we're dating, which is not true. Disclaimer. I feel like I have to... I was like, this close. I was like, do I have to put out a statement?
No, stop apology.
Sorry. Not dating.
Yeah, sorry, not dating. I do actually have a boyfriend.
Yeah. He's in, like, New Hampshire today or something.
Yeah,
no,
I said he was
he's
in America.
I don't know what
I'm
for.
sorry.
I don't know. He hasn't told me why he's there. I'm assuming he's going to play disc golf. I don't know why. All I've gotten from him since being there is like, oh, there's screens in the McDonald's. I was like, good for you. Like, screens to, like, play games on. I don't know. He was, like, very excited by those, and I don't know why.
They are fun, to be fair.
Yeah, but he was saying, it was more in a way of, like, he was saying it as if, like, he was, like, I don't know, like a zoo. No, I'm not a zoo. But he was like, can you believe that? I don't know.
It's like, the McDonald's here, they have screens.
Yeah, like that. Like, not in a way of, like, oh, the screens in the McDonald's are really fun. In a way of, like, can you believe they've put screens in the McDonald's? I was like, how?
What's he like?
That, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, are we gonna end it here?
I think this is a good place to end it.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back in September. Don't know when, because I thought we were doing the first week, but I guess not, because someone's going to Scotland and it's not me.
Look, I'm taking a grandparent. I'm going with my grandparents.
You are, and they are very lovely, so I can't be too upset, but also it was like...
the first thing that happens when my mum, my dad, and both my grandparents meet Emma is they immediately just hug.
Yeah. And
I'm like, how long is it going to be until my mum just goes, you know what, Emma? There's a room. There's a spare room. And that spare room is my room that I will be kicked out of.
You could have, I don't know, the couch in the front room.
Oh, you're too kind. So generous.
But yeah, no, I don't know, we'll be back in September, though.
Yeah.
Before preseason starts and things like that. Because I'm sure there will be more news in the next month. Because the NHL, for some reason, never rests.
Nope.
But yeah, with that being said, we get to do... Oh, no. I can't do this.
I'll look away, it's fine.
With that being said, thank you so much for listening. We will be back sometime in September. Not next Thursday. Not on Thursday, because this is a Monday, but...
Yeah, we will not be back on Monday.
We'll not be back on Thursday, but we will be back sometime in September. I hope you enjoyed this fun little in-person August bonus episode that we were always planning on doing. We were never not going to do this episode because we were like, why wouldn't we if we're in the same room for the first time? If we have the chance to do it in the same room for the first time, we're going to take it. But we will not be back on Thursday.
Boo.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also follow the show on Twitter at From the Fourth Line. That's Force with the number 4TH. You can follow Marcy on Twitter at 60leafs. You can follow myself, Pear B1. And thank you so much for listening. We'll be back.
Bye-bye.